Coca-Cola stands as one of the globe's most iconic brands, instantly evoking thoughts of refreshment, joy, and worldwide connection. For over 100 years, this legendary drink has been a fixture at family gatherings, sports events, and celebrations around the world. Its timeless red and white emblem is visible almost everywhere, from the hustle and bustle of city streets to the quiet of remote villages, symbolizing both tradition and modernity. For many, cracking open a cold can of Coke is more than just quenching thirst. It's a simple delight, a brief moment of happiness in a hectic day, and a flavor that evokes nostalgia. However, Coca-Cola is now grappling with a significant issue, not from a competing beverage, but from a governmental decision that could alter its business operations. The Trump administration has introduced new regulations and tariffs on importing aluminum, aiming to bolster American industry, but also disrupting global supply chains. This policy threatens to increase the cost of aluminum cans, a fundamental component of Coca-Cola's business and packaging. The company, though financially robust and adept at overcoming challenges, now faces difficult decisions. Will they hike prices for consumers, alter their iconic packaging, or absorb the additional costs and risk reduced profits? This issue extends beyond Coca-Cola. The entire beverage sector, along with numerous other companies reliant on aluminum, are closely monitoring the situation and preparing for its impact. Many businesses that depend on aluminum for their products are now facing uncertainty, pondering how these changes will affect their financial outcomes. The government's decision has set off a chain reaction, potentially influencing prices, employment, and even the environment as companies seek alternatives or cost-cutting measures. Coca-Cola's situation could serve as a forecast for other businesses, both large and small, nationwide. This narrative is about more than just soda. It's about how a single political decision can disrupt entire industries, impacting workers, business owners, and families everywhere. The ripple effects could touch every consumer, altering the prices we pay and the options available at the store. Let's explore how one iconic beverage is caught in the midst of a global economic upheaval and what it might mean for all of us in the coming days. To really understand the challenge Coca-Cola is facing today, we first need to talk about tariffs and why they exist in the first place. A tariff is essentially a tax placed on goods that are imported from other countries. Think of it as a fee that companies must pay to bring in materials like aluminum from overseas. This tax can make imported goods more expensive than those produced locally. In 2018, the Trump administration introduced tariffs on imported metals, aiming to protect American jobs and industries. The goal was to shield U.S. manufacturers from foreign competitors, especially countries that were selling steel and aluminum at prices lower than what American companies could match. The basic idea behind these tariffs was to make foreign aluminum more expensive, so that American companies would be encouraged to buy from domestic producers instead of relying on cheaper imports. This America First policy was designed to boost domestic manufacturing, create more jobs at home, and reduce the country's dependence on imported materials. But there's a catch. While these tariffs help U.S. metal producers by making their products more competitive, they also raise costs for companies that use those metals, like Coca-Cola, which relies on aluminum for its cans. Now, businesses that manufacture cars, airplanes, and soda cans all face higher expenses because the materials they need have become more costly due to these tariffs. So, the policy that was designed to help one part of the economy, metal producers, can end up hurting another part, like companies that depend on those metals to make their products. It's a complicated trade-off with winners and losers on both sides, and the effects ripple through the entire economy, impacting everything from jobs to prices on store shelves. And for Coca-Cola, these higher costs are a real problem, one that can't simply be ignored as it affects their bottom line and the price you pay for your favorite drink. The new tariffs make aluminum more expensive, plain and simple. For Coca-Cola, using billions of cans each year, even a small price hike means millions in extra costs. The company must decide, absorb the loss or pass it on to customers. At first, big companies might take the hit to avoid raising prices, but if costs stay high, those extra cents could show up at the checkout. Companies will look for ways to save, changing suppliers, tweaking production, or even rethinking packaging. The pressure is on to adapt quickly, and the humble can is suddenly at the center of a global business challenge. With aluminum cans getting pricier, Coca-Cola faces a choice: stick with cans or switch to more plastic bottles. Most bottling plants can handle both, so shifting production is possible. Plastic bottles aren't hit by aluminum tariffs, making them a tempting option. But packaging isn't just about cost. Consumers have strong preferences, and a big change could upset loyal fans. Smaller beverage companies lacking flexibility could be hit even harder by rising can prices. For some, the tariffs could be a make-or-break moment. The decision isn't just financial, it's about brand loyalty and survival. And the packaging choice could have consequences far beyond the soda aisle. Environmental groups are sounding the alarm about the growing threat of plastic pollution, especially as the world faces the possibility of even more plastic bottles being produced and used every day. These organizations are deeply concerned about the long-term consequences for our environment and public health. Plastic doesn't break down easily. A single bottle can last for centuries in landfills or oceans, slowly fragmenting into tiny, toxic microplastics. These microplastics can enter the food chain, harming marine life and potentially affecting humans as well. The problem is growing, with more plastic waste ending up in our natural spaces every year. Aluminum, by contrast, is infinitely recyclable and uses less energy to remake each time it's processed. Recycling aluminum saves up to 95% of the energy required to make new cans, making it a much more sustainable option for packaging beverages and other products. Even before tariffs were introduced, Coca-Cola faced criticism as the world's top plastic polluter, with its branded bottles found on beaches and streets across the globe. The company's plastic waste has become a symbol of the larger crisis. The company has promised to use more recycled plastic in its bottles, aiming to reduce its environmental footprint. However, a shift back to using more new, or virgin plastic, would be a major setback for sustainability efforts and could undo years of progress. Trade policy that is meant to help industry and boost profits could end up hurting the planet by encouraging more plastic production and pollution. Without strong environmental rules and regulations, companies may choose the cheapest packaging materials available, rather than the greenest or most sustainable options, putting profits ahead of the planet's health. The debate over aluminum tariffs has now become an environmental issue too, highlighting the complex connections between trade, industry, and the health of our planet. It's a powerful reminder that the economic choices we make today can have lasting, sometimes irreversible, impacts on our world and future generations. The U.S. aluminum tariffs don't just hit American companies, they ripple worldwide. Major suppliers like Canada and Brazil now face higher costs, risking jobs and economic pain abroad. Ironically, China, the supposed target, is less affected due to existing tariffs. Allies feel unfairly punished, and some threaten to retaliate with their own tariffs on American goods. This tit-for-tat can escalate into a trade war, slowing economies everywhere. Global supply chains are deeply connected. One policy change can disrupt years of cooperation. The aluminum tariffs show how quickly business challenges can become diplomatic ones. In today's world, no country acts alone. Coca-Cola isn't just waiting for the storm to pass, they're fighting back. Their size lets them absorb some extra costs, at least for now. They can also buy more aluminum from U.S. suppliers, sidestepping tariffs and supporting local industry. Financial tools like hedging help lock in prices and manage risk. And if needed, their plants can switch between cans, plastic, or glass. This flexibility is a huge advantage over smaller competitors. Coca-Cola's global reach and resources help them weather economic shocks. But not every company is so lucky. The ability to adapt quickly is now a key survival skill. In a changing world, only the nimble thrive. The future for Coca-Cola and the beverage industry is uncertain. The company hopes to keep growing, partly by carefully raising some prices. But the aluminum tariff issue isn't settled. Legal and diplomatic battles continue. Exemptions or changes could lower costs, but nothing is guaranteed. This story shows how global events can affect everyday life, from the price of a soda to the health of our planet. Companies like Coca-Cola will adapt, but the challenges are real. The aluminum tariffs are a lesson in how politics, business, and the environment are all connected. The choices made today will shape tomorrow's world. For now, everyone is watching and waiting for the next twist. The story of a simple can of Coke is far from over.